Good morning, Cebu.
Good morning, Queen. How are you? Happy Tips and Tea Tuesday.
Happy Tips and Tea Tuesday. We are here.
Yes, Queen, we are here live and in living color.
Yes,
And
yes.
I'm happy to be back. Feel like it's been so long since I've been on Tips and Tea.
I know, y'all. Please drop some hearts in the chat for our Cebu returning to Tips and Tea. I was destitute.
No, Queen, you held it down like the true queen that you are. Didn't skip a beat. Had some amazing episodes. So I definitely want to give you your credit, give you your flowers. Last week's episode was awesome and amazing. Definitely sorry that I wasn't a part of it, but I'm glad to be back today. That's for sure.
Well, we definitely so happy to have you back and glad that you're feeling better. That was, that was the one thing that was the most important. Was like we just wanted you to, you know, be back to 100% Cebu. We wanted you to feel better, feel good,
Yes.
so you can be back on alive and, just spending that quality time. Quality time is a
No.
love language, everybody. We missed our Cebu. So welcome back, Queen. Glad you're looking good, you're sounding good, and you are here.
Well, thank you, Queen. It's good to be back. Blessed to be here with you and do another live and, get this information out.
Okay, let's go. Let's go. Good morning, Miss Harriet. Good
Good
morning,
morning. Good
Queen.
morning. How are you, Queen?
I saw Aziz and Dolores in the chat as well. Good morning.
Well,
Good
let's
morning.
shout them out. Good morning, Aziz. Good morning, Dolores. Happy Tips and Tea Tuesday. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, yes. I don't know why it's not. There we go. Yes, thank you all for jumping on the live this morning. Well, Sibu, you want to jump right in because like we like to say, the queen's got things to do. So we got to
Yes,
get in.
Queen. Yes, yes, yes. We can definitely go ahead and jump into this morning's episode. And first of all, I just want to say good morning to everyone and welcome back to another episode of Tips and Tea Live. I'm one of your hosts, Satitra Cebu Booker, and I'm always excited to be here and spend another Tuesday morning with you guys, growing, learning, and talking about the things that impact our lives every day. And of course, I'm here with my beautiful and amazing co-host, Miss Chantella Shabazz.
Yes, everybody. And if whether you joining us from Facebook, YouTube, or just catching, the replay later, we just want to thank you for spending part of your morning with us. And then let's go ahead and grab your favorite cup, whether it's coffee or it's tea. Today I got coffee. I'm not even gonna front. Today is a coffee day, everybody. Because today's conversation is one that's almost, impacting every household. And I think a lot of people can definitely relate to this.
Yes, definitely, definitely. It's definitely a relatable topic. But before we jump in, let's make sure that you like our live, share the live with someone who could benefit from today's conversation, and also tag a friend, a parent, teacher, college student, or an entrepreneur. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tips and Tea Live, because we definitely appreciate every like, every comment, and every share because it helps us to reach more people. And before we get into today's episode, since we did have an awesome and amazing episode last Tuesday, Shantella, would you mind to give us a recap?
Yes, I'm not going to share too much because y'all just got to go back and watch last week's live because it was definitely impactful. We had the power couple on, Mr. Joshua Reedy and Miss Destiny Reedy as well. They were 2026 Nove's Power Couple of the Year. They lead with God first and their families, and they just have an amazing team that also supports them. They're amazing mentors, coaches. They have their little prince that they're also raising up to be just like them as well with entrepreneur mindset. So if you didn't get a chance to go and watch last week's live, definitely go to our YouTube channel. You can catch it there. You'll be able to see what it's like to be a couple and to work together, to run a business together, to raise a family, and staying intentional when it comes to spending quality time together and making sure the finances is aligning with God's principles. So they touch on a lot of different topics, and Destiny said last week, you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. So if you want some gems like that, and are you maybe you're dating intentionally, you wonder what it'll be like once you get married, or you have your partner, you thinking about should we start a business together? They did drop some really great gems on what it's like to be running a business and raising a family. So go back definitely and check out that live from last week.
That's awesome and amazing. And I really like what you said. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. And I think a lot of times we stop in our tracks because we think we're not perfect or we're not doing something right or we have flaws. But those things are what make you who you are and bring out the best in you.
Hmm.
So kudos to Destiny and JR and to you for holding it down last Tuesday. And, today's episode is something that, is a hot topic right now. Back to school, but not back to debt. We're going to talk about some smart money moves for parents, students, and entrepreneurs. And let me just ask y'all a quick question. Does anybody feel like school shopping is like another Christmas? Because that stuff is starting to get expensive now. And I mean, I don't want to date myself or age myself, but back in the day they used to have layaway. It's a little bit easier, and now they don't have stuff like that. You know,
Hmm.
one minute you might be buying notebooks, the next minute is shoes, school supplies, or if you have to buy uniforms. And we all know at the beginning of the school year, we got those sports fees, uniforms, practice, things like that. I know myself when my children were in school, both my boys were playing football at one point in time. So it can get to be very expensive. Before you know it, you're looking at your bank account wondering, where did my money go?
Hmm. Absolutely. And here's the crazy part too. So if you're going back to school, it's literally just not for parents anymore. You got college students that's getting ready for a new semester. You got entrepreneurs that are preparing for a new season in their businesses as well. So families are adjusting their budgets. You have everybody that's feeling the financial impact either one way or another. And then that's
Yes.
why today we're not just telling you about what not to spend. It's about helping you spend smarter.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
Carmen said, "Ooh, I gotta leave from those duties." I know. Right. Look, sometimes I get the text messages from the family, even though our daughter is 22 and she's kind of doing her own thing now. Sometimes, it's a group effort. So I get text messages from, my siblings say, "Hey, your nephew is doing football this year. Can anyone do a donation?"
Make
Sometimes
a
it takes a
donation. I
village.
know that's right. It takes a village, honey.
Honestly, yes. So I just want to ask the audience here a quick question. What's the biggest back to school expense for your household? Is it shoes? Is it clothes? School supplies? Sports? Maybe it's college tuition. Maybe you got the kids are going off to college. What's the biggest expense for you all right now? Because we was in the store the other day trying to look at some Skechers. The slides was $90 for some
Girl,
slides.
like honestly, you took the thought out of my head because I remember during back to school, I had two boys in school. So shoes were the most expensive things, because back then everybody wanted the Jordans or whatever. And you want to get your kids a nice pair of shoes because you don't want them to feel embarrassed or get picked on, different things like that. It can be hard out here for kids. And those shoes, they're hard on your pockets.
Yeah, maybe it's all the above for everybody. Look, it's everything, the clothes, the shoes, because all the cost is up right now. So, what's hitting your pockets, everybody? And see, you definitely right when it comes to the shoes. I remember it was a big thing when I was going to school too. You know what? They looking at your feet, seeing what shoes you had on. I used to
Yeah.
shop when Payless was a thing. I don't know if it's still Payless is out there in the universe.
Honey, Payless. I used to go to Payless myself.
I used to be in
I used to go to
Payless.
Payless, and I remember at the beginning of the school year, it wasn't like how it is now. Like for me, when I was growing up, I got a pair of white tennis shoes and a pair of black tennis shoes, and them shoes had to last me until Christmas. Nowadays these
Mhm.
kids, every time there's a new shoe pop out, the Jordan 205 or this or that, these Skechers, and it blows my mind. Like I remember, and again, I don't want to date myself, but I remember a pair of Chuck Taylors costing like $12. Why do they cost $50 and $60 now?
It's crazy. What's even funnier now that, Jordans was like a big thing back in the day. But you know what I found out last year? Like the kids is wearing New Balances.
Yeah, honey, I love me some New Balance. They comfortable. Them Jordans, they were expensive, but they weren't
They
comfortable.
want comfortable. Yeah. These
No.
kids, I think they're a bit smarter. They're like, look, the girls ain't wearing heels to go out to the parties. They like we put our gym shoes on. I can appreciate that about the new generation. They're definitely smart when it comes to their comfort. They don't play.
Honey,
So see,
I
why do
know
you think
that's
we
right.
overspend? We got to jump into it. Why do you think we overspend?
Yes, we do overspend, and most of us are overspending. It's not because we're irresponsible. You might be overspending because you love your family. You want to take care of your family. Um, Nowadays you got to try to stretch your dollars. We want our kids to feel confident, just like talking about the different clothes and things like that. So you do want to put your best foot forward as far as trying to make sure your kids have everything they need, their school supplies, their clothes, um, and you don't want them to feel left out. What are some reasons why do you think that people overspend, Shantella?
It's the same thing. Is they want to make their family happy, right?
Mhm.
We're trying to make sure that we're keeping our family covered, and sometimes we just overdo it, right? Sometimes we making up for things that we're lacking in other parts of our life, but you know it ain't about the money, so we have to realize that as well too. It can come from other things. And we got a tip from the audience here. We have Miss Dolores Haley. Thank you, Queen, for this tip. She said early school shopping tools
Yes.
here in Texas. They have a tax weekend for school, so school starts very early this year too. But I've seen that in a couple different cities across the nation where you can do tax-free shopping for school supplies and clothes, especially uniforms. And
Yes.
so if you all, if you are in one of those cities, definitely, partake in that. Right. I had a girlfriend who they have every year, a couple weeks before the school starts back, they do a uniform sale. Right. It's just one day. It's their surplus that was left over from the year before, and everything is like half the price. But knowing these little things that the schools are offering that your city and like maybe your village and your communities offer for savings, like even the back to school giveaway, right? Where they give
Yes.
free school supplies in your neighborhood, partake in that. Usually there's some type of summer camp that's going on in each one of these little neighborhoods. We used to have them in Broadview because I came up. My daughter went to Broadview summer camp and the one at Hillside Eisenhower. They will always give the kids at the end of summer camp free school supplies. And they opened it up to the whole neighborhood. It wasn't just for those who went to the summer camp, but backpacks, pencils, pens, everything you could think of, calculators, So definitely look into these free resources that are around you.
Yes, definitely check your free resources. Google, free school supply giveaway, because there's always giveaways and different things like that. And sometimes I feel like we want to give our children more because, some of the things we didn't have when we grow up. And, there's nothing wrong with that, but we do have to ask the question, is it worth putting myself in debt for? So just try to be a little bit proactive, like Shantella mentioned, shopping early, shopping throughout the summer, not waiting to the last minute when you're shopping. And, if you start at the beginning of the summer and put, maybe $25 to $50 away each paycheck, that can actually help as well.
Absolutely. I
Uh-oh,
like
I
to.
blanked out. Can you see me and hear me okay?
Yeah, I can still see you and hear you.
Okay, everything just blanked out for a second. But nonetheless, like I was saying, just try to be a little bit proactive so that way, you're not waiting to the last minute, because I was always a last minute shopper. And sometimes when you wait to the last minute to shop, you're not getting those deals. You're trying to hurry up and buy, and you're spending extra money, where if you actually plan it out, like today we're going to go out for X, Y, and Z, and you get X, Y, and Z. Don't add anything extra to it.
Yeah, it's definitely important to teach your kids about budgeting, while you're shopping. Give them a budget. Let them pick
Yes.
up the items and, have them add it up so they see how money really works. Right? If I get these shoes, I'm gonna be missing a whole lot more things. I'm not gonna have any pants this year. So, giving your kids a budget and having them actually, you know, do the shopping and doing the calculations, that might help as well. And of course, we're big advocates for high yield savings accounts. So especially if
Yes,
you
ma'am.
have kids that's going into college age years, especially within the next few years, they can start really doing some savings plans to start saving towards books, right? Other college expenses, right? We know we have our college savings plans, but this is also to help towards that as well. Because there's a lot more expenses than just dorm fees, food costs, and actual tuition for the schools. But yes, those
Yes,
are
ma'am. That is so
some
true.
great tips. Let me see here. I also saw another thing that popped up in the chat. Gina B. Smith says she partnered with a few businesses and will have a back to school drive in the Bronx. Let's go, Gina. Y'all, please drop some hearts in the chat for Miss Gina B. Smith because she is leading her
Gina always
community
doing
and
something. Let's go, Queen. I
they
know
are
that's right. She said she giving back to her community.
yes, I love it. Thank you, Gina B. Smith, for sharing that. So if y'all are in the Bronx area, please reach out to Gina B. Smith. If you drop something in the chat or reach out to us later, we can get you in contact with Gina. She can give you more information about the drive that she's doing. Thank you, Queen. We might have to have you on back on the show, back on the live, so you can talk about it.
Let's go. Let's go.
Carmen says she free supplies at the back to school events. She donates to her church.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Churches are really great resources for school supplies, uniforms, or just monetary donations to help families in need when it comes to around that time of year. Yes, yes, yes. Really great tips, everybody. And then I
Yes.
also just want to throw out there as well too. Apply for if you're a college age student and you apply for scholarships during your freshman year or going into your freshman year. Keep applying, right? There's still scholarships and grants out there for the remaining years of your college. It's not just from when you graduate high school and you're going into college. Continue to apply for scholarships, even your sophomore, junior, senior year, you're a grad student, that you're already enrolled in college. You can continue to apply for scholarships that can help you with your aid. You're not just one and done, right? There's still other programs out there that's supposed to help with tuitions. And then if your parents are working, right, some of these corporations offer scholarships and tuition reimbursements or education assistance for employees who have kids that's going to school. right? Or even for yourself, if you work as a summer intern or a summer program for some of these bigger corporations, you can also look into the tuition reimbursement for yourself as well. So these are just financial tips, that you can look into that might help you not get so impacted by how much things are costing nowadays, especially when it comes to higher learning.
Yes, ma'am. That is definitely true. I think it's very important, to learn how credit works and to, start saving, even if it's just a little bit, and,
Hmm.
not to fall into thinking that credit is free money. Because I think that's a big trap that a lot of us get into, especially being young and not knowing how credit works. But yes, take the time to look into that and start building smart habits now. So that way, by the time you're a seasoned adult, you've already got those habits in place. It's not going to be so hard for you to do that. Excuse me, for you to do that.
Hmm.
But, let's talk about, our business owners. Because back to school season does change spending habits when you've got kids. Families are focused on school expenses, which can, affect your business too. Now is a perfect time to evaluate your business budget. So that way you're on track and you're watching your spending, and also to look into different marketing strategies. So that way you can help to get or spread your reach with your business. Also, to, focus on some upcoming promotions that maybe you can promote during the school year, or excuse me, during the upcoming school season. Also, maybe reevaluate your fourth quarter goals. This is a good time to do that. Look into, what your initial goal was, where you are, and if you're far away from it or farther away from it than you should be, evaluate the steps that you need to take in order to reach that goal. And even if it is pushed back a little while, the fact is that you're still working towards it and you reach that goal. And also too, we're talking about thinking ahead as far as, planning for these things so you're not waiting to the last minute. This is just another little gem. We are 4 months away from Christmas. So if you haven't started saving for Christmas, now would be a good time to start that as well. And make sure
Yeah.
that we are, spending our money intentionally. When you go to the store, when you're getting things, when you're school shopping, grocery shopping, ask yourself, when you look at an item, do I need this or do I want it? Needs are greater than wants. And if it's something you want, then you can get it later.
Oh yeah. So
And best
the goals is definitely to review your business goals. Make
Yes.
sure you avoid any unnecessary expenses, and you want to make sure you're strengthening your business, Curtis, so that if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready,
Yes,
right? You
ma'am.
need to build up your cash reserves and create a plan. Especially, we always talk about 30-day runs, 60-day runs, but come up with like the next 90 days instead of just waiting until January starts, right? So then you kind of feel like you're behind. So your business is only going to be as strong as the financial habits that you start to build for yourself. So you need to really look into building up your systems, protecting your cash flow, and then making decisions that's going to make sure you're protecting your future. That way your future business is going to be thankful for the things that you put in place now, especially if you have bigger expenses coming your way because your kids are going back to school. So these are things that you can kind of prep for, you know, in the long term.
Yes, ma'am. Some very good, valid points. And something I did mention earlier, about credit, learning how credit works. We need to learn that credit is a tool, it's not extra income. And that process of it being extra income gets a lot of us into trouble. And we need to know that it's a tool, it's something that you are going to use. Just because you have available credit doesn't need you don't need to spend it. We want to keep your credit utilization below 10% if possible. But, 10 is elite, but definitely below 30%. So the less credit utilization, the better. You know, um, Looking at your paycheck, how are you dividing it up? How are you spending it? Are you putting money aside? Are you making sure that you've got your money for your emergency? Um, Using credit for emergencies, not for shopping. Protecting your credit score because your future self is going to thank you. We need to learn how to use credit and not abuse it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely have some credit tips for a couple different ways that we can go about when it comes to credit, especially because I feel like there's a theme here where we need to also talk about the college students going off because this is you're young adults now. So if you are watching, if you do end up opening up credit cards, just make sure, you're not overspending.
Right.
That's one of the main things that you need to look for. And don't just be opening up store cards just to get the discount for clothes. That's going to take a hit to your credit. But if you
Hmm.
do open up a major credit card because you just want to have it for emergencies and whatnot, just being responsible with it. Try not to overspend
Right.
with this card is literally for emergencies. And then if you open up this card, don't close it. At this point, this is going to be this is your first credit card. So eventually, this can be one of your oldest credit cards.
Hmm.
Once you start really doing the credit age thing and start opening up new accounts and really building up your credit profile. So, this is a card that can stay with you for the rest of your lifetime. And then years down the line, this is showing your longest length of history. So, don't close the card. Just make sure you're not overspending on it. And then another thing that I want to tell the college students as well too, that if you are paying rent, right? There are some tools out here that can now help you report rent payments towards your credit history. So if you want to, you can report your rent payments that you're paying to stay near the campus. You're paying them what is it, like 8 to 9 months out the year anyway, because you're going to school. So if you're paying your rent on time each month, especially if you're getting a stipend anyway to go towards housing, take those on time rent payments and report them to the credit bureaus. This can really help you build credit without opening another credit account, right? Because it's not putting a ding on you and doing a hard pull. It's just reporting positive payment history to your credit reports. So there's a couple different options out there. There's rent reporters that'll help you, and also Boom Pay is another good one where they don't even do a landlord verification. You literally can just link the accounts and it just tracks when you make your payments on time.
Yes, that's very good information. The Boom Pay and the rent reporters might as well go
Hmm.
ahead and use it so that way you're getting everything reported and it can boost your credit. And I do have a question for our audience out there, just for some tips for everyone. What are some money saving habits that you've used during the back to school season? And what type of advice would you give another family? So we definitely want to see what you've got to say in the comments. One thing that I did to try to save money or to lessen my expense with my children when I was doing the back to school shopping was I did try to at some time go and buy stuff throughout the summer instead of waiting to the last minute, because like I said, I am a last minute type of person. I realized that waiting to the last minute I was spending more rather than if I had just been proactive and went out and looked. You save money. So those are some little things that you can do. Again, if you start saving at the beginning of the summer, putting maybe $25, $50 per paycheck in a high yield savings account, at the end of the summer, you've got you a little help there to help you with your school expenses.
I love
Do
that.
we
Yeah,
have
you're
any
right.
comments in the chat? I do apologize. I'm not able to see the comments right now, so I can't see if we have any in there.
Not yet, but we're on like a little slight delay. So I would definitely say understanding the difference between good debt and bad debt too
That
is
part,
very
yes.
essential when it comes to looking at things like this because sometimes we look at all debt as bad. We're like, no, I don't want to open up this account. But, good debt can be you borrowing money to help increase your future income or your financial opportunities. And that's like if a mortgage towards buying a home, business loan that's going to grow a profitable business, or like even getting financial aid to help you get a degree or to get a trade certification. You know, Bad debt kind of looks like, you borrowing money that's going towards things that's going to lose value. So that's how I kind of look at it. If it's not improving your financial future and you just stacking up high interest debt, this is something that's more harmful than more helpful. So, like if you're carrying balances on your credit cards because you went shopping and dining, you went out to restaurants, payday loans, sometimes on buy now, pay later purchases you can't afford, financing vacations and things like that. So, you want to borrow to build wealth, not just to fund a lifestyle. So, just knowing the difference, and helping our kids to really understand what that difference is can definitely be beneficial. Let me check to see what's in the comments.
Yes. And I do like what you said, borrow to build wealth, borrowing to build wealth, not to build debt.
hmm we got Michelle Ramos. She says sales rack coupons, ask family to support by giving a few dollars towards back to school shopping. Yes, tap into your village,
I know
right?
that's right. Yes, yes, yes. Very
Sometimes
good
we in
tips.
different.
Thank you, Michelle.
hmm Amen to that. Thank you, Queen, for sharing. Any more tips, everybody, that we can share that that can be helpful?
Definitely want to say again, just in case anyone did not hear earlier, those tax-free weekends, because I know they should be going on around this time. I know here in West Virginia, they had their tax-free weekend this past weekend, and it was for anything towards school. So school supplies, clothing, anything like that, you did not have to pay any tax for.
hmm
And also too, don't forget about if can travel, don't forget about outlet malls, different things like that, because they will have clothes at a more discounted rate than going to the mall.
Oh yeah. I will also say those are good. See, um, also living below your means.
Mm,
We talked about this before, where just because you make the $100,000 don't mean you have to spend every last dime of it.
no.
You know, just because you have the apartment that you can afford three times the rent, maybe we're not spending that much on that. It's looking at what makes sense. Can I afford this if I go 6 months without a paycheck, right? How long can I float if something was to happen? If you're a dual household income, maybe we're looking at all the expenses can be covered by one paycheck versus we needing both to make sure all the bills get paid. So just thinking about things like that, living below your means, that way you can save more money. You can actually do the 20%, pay yourself first instead of living paycheck to paycheck. Build up the emergency fund. And I always like to say, start investing early. That's another one, especially if you work for a job that has the 401k where they're doing the employee match, where they're matching your
Yes.
contributions. Get you a money market account, start investing. Even small investments that you make as a team, they have like these teen accounts now where they can kind of, with parent guardianship, they can start investing in stocks and whatnot, and bonds. So these are things that that's going to pay off decades down the line. So definitely start investing now. These 17, 18-year olds, this can really make a difference for you in just a little as 10 years.
Yes, ma'am. It definitely can. And just because you don't know about it, don't be fearful of it. I would say do your
Mhm.
research, look into it. If you have a trusted friend or family member that knows about investing, talk to them because it definitely can be a game changer. Because some employers allow you to buy stock. And then, if you go on your Fidelity Investments or your 401k, they can break different things down to you and show you how you can invest. I was looking at mine the other day and saw different ways. They even had Bitcoin on there. I was shocked to see that. So there's different
Mhm.
ways you can invest your money to make your money grow. And if you can do that, knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is better because I mean, if you don't use the knowledge that you have, then it's dead. But learning information about things like that and then putting it into play so that way you're in a better financial situation 10 to 15 years from now. um, And then that way you learn how to do it. So that way you can pass it on to the younger generation, your children. So that's something very good, Chantel. Thank you for bringing that up. That was a very valid point and an awesome thing.
Oh yeah, and it can be
Awesome
as simple as
information.
when it comes down to investing, just making sure your whole family is covered with life insurance. It's as simple as that. You know, whether you get an IUL policy or a whole life policy, literally these insurance are for the living, right? You can now become your own bank with life insurance, where
Yeah.
you can have cash value in your life insurance, right? So if you need to borrow some money later down the line, even though the interest rates are crazy everywhere else, you can borrow from your life insurance, where your rates can be a lot lower. All right, so these are
Right.
just things where now you becoming your own bank, right? And you're paying yourself back versus paying back other institutions. So just look into things like this for yourself and your family. Your kids don't have to be 18 for you to have life insurance for them. You can start when they're babies, right? You know, we started when we were younger for our child. So just these different platforms that you can use to really start making sure that even future you and your future generations are covered.
Yes,
Yes, we
ma'am.
have some comments in the chat. Let me go over those really quick. I don't know why it's not showing up on the stream today. It's acting up on us, everybody. Thank you for your patience while we
Yes, thank you,
while
thank
we
you,
do.
thank you. We definitely appreciate your patience and your support. We have the best audience ever.
We do. Yes. So we have a tip from Miss Michelle Ramos. She said, increase your contributions to your defined contribution or 401k when you get a pay increase. Even 1 to 2% will make a difference. Yes,
Yes, it
Queen.
does.
Absolutely. Great, great gem there. We
Yes,
have
ma'am.
Dolores. Thank you, Queen Dolores and Miss Michelle. Queen Michelle, she says small investments with Stash, SoFi, Acorn, just a few is a good start. Yes, they're absolutely right. You know,
Yes, ma'am.
Acorn transfers a change. You know, these are just different ways that you can continue to make sure you're adding something to the pot. Everybody want to continue to add something to the pot.
Yes, we want to keep adding to the pot, not taking away, because too many times we take away and then we don't put back.
All right, all right. Well, do we have a weekly challenge this week?
I think we do have a weekly challenge, Queen. You know, we always got a little something, something now. This week, before making any purchases, I would like everyone to ask yourself, do I truly need this?
Hmm.
I had to do that yesterday and I walked right on out the store because I did not need it. I just wanted it because I was there. I mean, I it's just a thing, you know. I go to the store and I feel like I have to get something because I went in the store, but technically, no, I don't. I can go in there
Yeah.
and look, and if they don't have what I went in there for, I don't have to buy something else. So make sure you're checking or asking yourself, do I truly need this? And also, can I afford it without creating any unnecessary debt? Necessary debt versus unnecessary debt. Know the difference. And will this purchase still make sense a month from now? Because sometimes we shop emotionally. Sometimes we might be having a bad day, so we want to go buy something to make ourselves feel better. I mean, I've done it, so I mean, I'm guilty of that. Or you want to treat yourself, so you go buy something that you really don't need. But ask yourself, is this purchase going to make sense a month from now? Is this item that I bought going to be useful? Is it going to serve a purpose for the future? Is it an investment, or is this just something I want because it's just a fad, or this is something I just want because. So ask yourself those necessary questions. That is going to be our weekly challenge. And, you know, if while you're doing that, if you do truly need it, then move forward with confidence, knowing that you need that item. But when we start living with regret and things like that about our purchases, then we really didn't need it. Because I mean, I can
Absolutely.
raise my hand and say that there's been times that I've made a purchase and I've regretted it.
Oh yeah, I think my facial expressions on this live told on me already. So
Yes,
y'all do it.
Queen.
Y'all do it. You know, we just had some really big spending weekends the last couple weekends, but you know, sometimes it happens. We'll go for a while and just we don't. But I spend on things that make sense, kind of, So sometimes, like I was just out looking for some comfy shoes because we're gonna be at a conference this
Hmm.
upcoming weekend. We're going to Nova's regional conference where we're going to be learning new systems, get to hear different speakers talk about financial education, but we are also getting together to celebrate afterwards. So we're doing like an all white yacht party. And your girl was in the store looking for some all white sandals that had like the Skechers comfy. Because I'm like, I
Memory
don't care
foam
about
girl.
being.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I, I want to be comfortable because last year we were standing a lot. I was moving around. I think I sat down for all of like point 20 seconds on that boat last year. So, we were moving around so much because, it's like a family reunion every time we get together with our Dove family and our business
Yes.
partners. So, you just get so excited. So, you're just constantly moving around, talking with people, loving on them. And I'm like, my feet was not happy with me at the end of last year. And I think Satitra can definitely testify because we were all walking back from that boat, that nice long walk down the pier.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go this year. But if I had have been able to go, I mean, my goal was to be cute and comfortable. I was not, no, yep, I will not wear heels to another yacht party ever. Never,
Yeah.
ever.
So I'm learning my lesson. So this spend this free this past weekend is for my comfort. To save
Hey, and you
my
deserve
purse.
it, queen. You deserve it.
Yes, yes. Well, it's an investment to my future, is what I'm telling
Yes, it
myself.
is an investment for your future. Your future, your feet are going to thank you, and your back and your knees and everything. They're going to thank
Yeah.
you that you did not put them through the stress and strain of being uncomfortable for those hours.
Yeah, so yeah, no, we have to think about the things that we're shopping and spending on. I had to walk away from some bigger purchase items that caught my eye while I was out shopping. A couple times I slapped my own hand, so I had Cebu in the back of my mind, and she was like, "Girl, that's not a tips and tea. You doing too much. Think about tips and tea and what we talk about." I was like, "Yep, Cebu, you right." So even when she's not with me, she's with me. Just to let y'all.
Yes, queen. Picture me on your shoulder. Do you need it or do you want it? Do you
Yes.
need it or do you want
Let
it?
me hear you in
The
my
good angel
mind.
and the bad angel on your shirt. Get it, get it. No, you don't need it.
Oh, well, I just want to say thank you again, everybody, for jumping into the live this morning. And, we really appreciate you all supporting. If you know of anyone who can benefit from some of the tips that we dropped today, especially about some of the financial tips for our kids, just them also being involved in the process when it comes to back to school shopping, really learning, getting a hands on experience when it comes to budgeting and thinking about investing now, you know,
Mhm.
not
Yes.
waiting until later on down the line. So, we want to make sure we're planning ahead to reduce our stress and then budgeting, that creates freedom for us in the future. And then we want to make sure that our decisions that we are making, here go that word again, intentional. You want to do
Intentional.
intentional decision making, right? That's going to help focus on our long term goals.
Yes, yes, yes. And of course, family, we have an affirmation for this week. So I'm going to read that for you. And the affirmation is I am a wise steward over my finances. I make intentional financial decisions. And I choose planning over pressure. I'm going to read that one again. I choose planning over pressure. I choose financial peace over unnecessary debt. And just know that every smart decision that you make today is going to create a stronger future for yourself and your family.
Amen to that.
And I just want to tell everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. We definitely appreciate you tuning in for another episode of Tips and Tea Live. If today's conversation encouraged you, please make sure to like, comment, and share this episode with someone that may need to hear it. And if you are looking to improve your credit or your financial situation, and you need some assistance, or if you're looking to grow your business, you can definitely connect with us. You can reach out to myself, Satitra Booker, or Chantella Shabazz. We'd be happy to help you or assist you in any way that we can. And we are offering a free financial analysis to anyone who needs one. So I just want to put that out there. If there's anything we can ever do to help you, we are definitely here to help and here to serve.
Yes, yes. And remember, everybody, it's never too late to make just smarter money moves. And until next time, stay encouraged. We want you to stay intentional and keep building the life you deserve. We'll see you all next week. See
We'll
you
see you
next week.
next week. Everyone have a blessed Tuesday and a blessed rest of your week. Thank you.